So today I'm in the wood shop and I need to build some displays for my soap, and I did some Googling online and I found one that I think is within my skill level and within my time frame to build. So I'm going to throw that graphic up here. You can see it looks like two triangles and all the shelves and everything are cut to the same lengths. And one of the reasons why I'm under a lot of pressure is it's Sunday and I am potentially setting up to do this festival on a Thursday. But prior to that, I need a photo of my setup, and I'm just now building a display. I've never done a festival like this before. Usually I'm not this far behind, but I was starting to think it's indoor, which I haven't done in a really long time, and they need these tables. It's gonna be with these folding tables that I'll be using. It's a 3 foot by 6 foot, which I'm not used to setting up at all. And my soap that I'm selling is a product I've also never sold before yet. So it's a lot of firsts. And what I need to do is work on building these soap displays and possibly something to help prop up my prints and some other little things. From what I understand, this is a festival where people are going to be buying like smaller priced items for probably Christmas or the holidays. So I want to get in on that traffic. All right, so the first thing I need to do is to hunt around this shed and to figure out what wood I'm going to use to build this display. It's only holding soap, which isn't that heavy. And I'm hoping to maybe spray paint it when I'm done, so it's okay if I use a Mod Podge of different scrap pieces that I have laying around. Okay, so I'm gonna go hunt down those pieces and then I'm gonna start getting ready to cut them. Okay, so I found this guy. He is big enough for me to cut my triangular boards from. What I'm gonna do is cut off this edge, not because I'm too lazy to take out the screws, but I can notice some splintering in the wood there. And so I just want to cut it down to the point that it's healthy on both ends. I've got 2 screws up here and 2 screws down there. And once I do that, then I'm going to cut them into triangles and then I'm going to cut off the edges. As you can see, I need to use this table saw, but it is covered with a bunch of stuff that I left behind from my other projects. So what I'm gonna do is safety first, is to pick up and clean out my area before I do any cuts. So, we'll get into it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the board down and then I'm gonna cut the triangles into it. I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to do that. I'm still learning how to do certain things with the table saw. So I might need to do some Googling first to continue with this project, but I can go ahead and cut off those edges. pieces I cut off aren't bad, but what I'm thinking I could use them for is another project, like building like a little bird feeder or something for my mom where I just need a nice straight strip. So I'm not gonna discard these. I'm gonna put these away with the other guys. Now what I need is a square, and to then cut that square at a 45-degree angle. I'm gonna go ahead and cut for 2 of these in the event that I get some cuts wrong, or I might just decide that I want more than one of these soap display holders. It doesn't hurt, I think, for me to try to do 2, especially since I'm kind of shooting from the hip and I've never done this before. For me to get a square out of this, I need my longest angle to be this side. Put it. Now it's time for me to cut the square, and then I'm just going to cut another square. Alright, now I've got my 2 squares, and my plan is to cut down that way to make the 2 triangles, which are the sides for the soap display box. And I should be able to do that using the table saw, but I've never done it before. I think I'm going to try to just follow the line that I cut, and hope this turns out the way I want it to. Don't know if you could tell, but it didn't quite turn out the way I wanted it to. I could tell that I wasn't following the line, but I wasn't sure how to correct it while I was cutting. Now that I've got one as a guide for the other. Oh, this one looks like it's right, even though I know that it's not. We'll see if I can get it to go. It's closer, I just need to trim my hair more. I think my patience got the best of me. It's not getting a good even edge. I'm gonna put this one into the side pile of impatient bad experiments. All right, I'm gonna try this again. Here we go. This one went a whole lot better. I can already tell that these 2 cuts are looking a lot more similar. Okay. So they're a little bit off right there. I think I can trim off the excess, cutting off the corners and the edges. So I'll try to trim off a little bit this excess, but I'm trying to do as little as possible because, again, I'm kind of under a deadline, so whew. Gotta get that much trimmed off, so I'm gonna try to get as close as I can. It's okay if it's not totally perfect. I feel like I can sand the difference down. All right, let's see if I can get this little bit of wonkiness handled. They're close enough, a little bit of sanding. I'm gonna hack off this side and this side like the Amazon holder over there, but I'm gonna use the miter saw. I don't have perfect memory of everything. I know some woodworkers don't get as turned around as I do, but I put X's on the corners that I want to cut off. And what I know is that because this is a 45-degree angle, I need to make a 45-degree cut here so that it'll be up and down. And the same goes for the other side. Now I've got the two sides of it, and what I need now is to cut those shelves that go in between. And now I'm only gonna have one display, but that'll be fine. I just need to figure out how long I want these boards to be. So I picked out one of my boards to use for this, and it's one of my reclaimed wood boards. The wood that I was cleaning up earlier is old wood that had once been part of the shed or had once been part of my parents' house. And I'm wanting to use that for more sentimental projects or projects to give family members. But this board is kind of rough. I had planed it, I had cut the edges off, and it's got great character at first, but then on the other side of it, you can see where it's just maybe not something that I really want to make like a piece of furniture out of. I'm gonna run this through the table saw, I'm gonna cut it down, and then I'm gonna cut them all down to the same lengths. Alright, so now I have cut my wood. I have my 4 shelves. I was planning on doing 5, but if I had done an extra 5th cut, then my shelves would have had to have been like 4 inches shorter. So I decided to be a little bit more risky and to go ahead and do them at 16 inches. My spare piece of wood wouldn't be long enough to make an extra shelf. It's probably a lot of mistake proofing that this all comes from the same board that I cut at the same time, measured against each other. So these guys are going to be the best. What I've decided to use is the nail gun for this. I'm a little bit nervous to use the nail gun because it's got a lot of power behind it, and if you're off, then the nail pokes right through, and it's a really big pain in the butt to get it out. On the flip side, it gets it done pretty quickly as opposed to, you know, drilling a pilot hole, doing a screw, doing a screw, doing a screw. What I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to put this together and use vices to hold it in place, and then I'm going to use the nail gun, and hopefully this won't suck. sanded it down and built it, it is time to wipe it down with a damp rag. And when it's dry, I'll apply the first coat of paint. After I finished painting it, I decided to go ahead and let it dry overnight. And then this morning I put on 2 coats of some wipe-on poly. It's a fast drying polyurethane. So it's already dry. It's still off-gassing, so it's a little smelly, but I put some of my soap bottles in it, and this is my display. Well, part of my display. It would have been great if I could have built 2 of these, but I'm really happy with the one that I built. I don't know how I feel about some of the character of the wood still showing. I usually like that, but for this display, I don't know if it doesn't look quite right. I might fill it in a little bit more with some wood glue and then put on another coat just to make it look a little bit more like how I like it. But overall, I think it's great. I chose white for this because I wanted it to make the bottles really show up. I normally like the look of natural wood. I'm proud of how it turned out. I did it last minute, the best that I could. It's got some character to it. It's going to do exactly what I need it to do for this festival, so I'm very happy. When I do the festival, I'll do a quick short to show my final display and what it looks like, but this is it. Solid, complete, 4 shelves. If you watched my video to the end, thank you for watching. I appreciate every view that I get. If you have any comments, please leave them down below, and please check out the other videos on my channel.